YouTube, I'm Vanessa, and today I thought it would be fun to do the burn, rewrite, or reread tag. So I kind of just now decided to do this like on a whim today, so I don't know like who created this or whatever, but I will find out and leave the link down below. But basically this is a tag that I have been seeing go around and it just looks like so much fun. You basically pick 3 book titles and you choose out of those 3 one that you're going to burn, one that you are going to rewrite and change, and one that you're going to reread and leave the way it is. So I have got my little cup here that Allie from Hardback Hoarder sent me, and I love her. And I have filled it with book titles, and so I'm going to be picking out 3 and telling you what my choices are. Okay, so for the first 3, we've got And I Darken by Kiersten White, which is a book that I absolutely loved. I think I gave it 5 stars. Harry Potter! Oh no! Already hard. Or Reign of the Fallen by Sarah Glenn Marsh, which, you know, I wasn't in love with it, but I did like it and I like the concept of it, so I don't want to burn it, that's for sure. But unfortunately, I mean, I think compared to the other 2, I'm just gonna have to. If this was in any other grouping, I probably would have just said rewrite it and just make it a little bit more up to par. But unfortunately, when you're coming up against And I Darken and Harry Potter, Reign of the Fallen is gonna get burned. And I Darken is gonna get reread and kept the way it is because it was beautiful and I loved it. And Harry Potter is gonna get rewritten. Basically everybody that I've seen do this tag chooses to rewrite Harry Potter because we all love Harry Potter and we all still want it to exist, but like, it's got some issues, and J.K. Rowling, you know, she messed some stuff up, and so we all like just want to go back in and fix those things. So that is what I would do. Obviously the diversity issues would need to be fixed, and also Draco Malfoy gets a redemption arc. Like, I'm sorry, but that's happening. And also we're gonna save Hedwig and Dobby. Okay, our next 3 is Caraval by Stephanie Garber, which is a book that I really liked when I read it. I recognize that it's not like super amazing, but it is really like atmospheric and just like pretty to read. Like, it's a pretty book, I guess. Salem's Lot by Stephen King, which I read and did not like. I thought it was really boring and pointless. And Frankenstein by Mary Shelley, which obviously is a great book and I liked it, but it was also just very boring and very long and drawn out. Okay, as much as I would love to rewrite Frankenstein and make it less boring, I mean, I feel like it is a classic for a reason. We can leave it. We can just reread it and leave it the way it is. Future generations will just have to deal with this boring book on their curriculum. Salem's Lot, we can just burn. I feel like the world would not be missing much if Salem's Lot didn't exist. There are much better vampire stories. And I guess that means I would rewrite Caraval, and I guess I would just take out, you know, some of the stuff that people were saying was problematic. Like, there's a certain part where like suicide is kind of used as a plot device and that's not very good. So maybe we'd rework that. And also maybe just like beef up the plot a little bit and make it, you know, a little bit higher quality, I guess. We could play around with Caraval and see what we could do. Okay, and then we've got A Series of Unfortunate Events by Lemony Snicket, which I personally think is a masterpiece and I love it. The Hobbit, you know, it's good, but it's a little boring. And the Shatter Me trilogy by Tahereh Mafi, which I loved, although I recognize they're not the greatest, you know? Oh no, this is actually hard because I don't want to burn any of these. I like all of them. I'm gonna reread A Series of Unfortunate Events because those books are perfect and there's not a single thing that I would change about them for the life of me. Oh my gosh, Shatter Me or The Hobbit. I feel like for the sake of the general public, because everybody loves Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit is so important, like culturally and like literature wise, I feel like it would be selfish of me to burn that, even though I personally like Shatter Me better. But in the interest of the greater good of fantasy genre of literature, I guess I will keep The Hobbit and just rewrite it to be a little bit more meaty, a little bit less drag-oning about random stuff that doesn't matter. And I guess I would burn Shatter Me, even though I love Shatter Me. Ultimately, it's just like a really good romance story, and there's plenty of those. There's plenty of good YA romances out there, so not a huge loss to the world as a whole, I guess. Alright, and then we're gonna have Dorothy Must Die, which is a book that I was actually very angry with. Really like the idea of like a darker Wizard of Oz retelling, but unfortunately Dorothy Must Die just didn't do it for me. The next book is When Dimple Met Rishi, which is a really cute contemporary romance that I really enjoyed. And the third one is Dracula by Bram Stoker. Ooh, as much as I would like to just rewrite Dorothy Must Die and make it into the good retelling that we all deserve, compared to these other two, I'm going to say burn Dorothy Must Die. And then I'm going to reread Dracula and leave it the way it is because I love Dracula and I think it's great. And I will rewrite When Dimple Met Rishi and just maybe focus it a little bit more on Dimple's awesome like computer coding camp, because that's really cool. It's really cool that she's a girl that's like going to do software coding and stuff, and I feel like it just got overshadowed a lot by the romance, which is fine because it's a romance book, like that's expected, but I'd have liked a little bit more, you know, just a little bit. Okay, next three, we've got Lolita by Vladimir Nabokov. I'm pretty sure everyone is familiar with the concept of Lolita. If you're not, it is about a pedophile. It is from a pedophile's point of view, which is horrifying and disgusting, but the thing about the book itself is that Nabokov wrote it, I don't know, like his prose is just so gorgeous. I personally really liked Lolita. I thought it was a good book. Persepolis, which is amazing. It's a graphic novel about a little girl growing up in Iran during the Islamic Revolution, and it's so good. And the last one is the Selection series by Kira Cass, which I liked, even though it's not like, you know, super powerful literature or anything. I enjoyed it, so it pains me that it's up against these other two like really strong, really good, really important reads. Yeah, I'm gonna have to burn the Selection, which I feel really bad about, but like, I'm not getting rid of the other two, so sorry. I'm going to keep Lolita the way it is. And then Persepolis, I also would not want to change anything about because it's also amazing and perfect. But one thing that I maybe would do is just add some more of the things that I was really interested in that got like skimmed over a little bit. Like there's a part that talks about like the history of Iran and like their leadership and how it changed and how all of those changes led to the revolution, and I would have liked a little bit more detail and information in that because I was still a little bit confused after reading it. Okay, our next three are The Shack, which is a book that I hated. I did not like it at all. The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, which I just finished and I absolutely loved. And the Infernal Devices series, which is also a series that I love so much. So I'm obviously gonna burn The Shack because I don't care about it. I think this book was so bad. And then between The Cruel Prince and the Infernal Devices, I'm gonna keep The Cruel Prince because I think it was fine the way it was, and I would rewrite the Infernal Devices. I'm not sure what I would change, but I think we all know that Cassie Clare's stories and her characters are very well created, but she's not always the best like writer. Some things just come off as kind of like corny and kind of lame. Sometimes it's like a swing and a miss for Cassie Clare. So I would just go through and any of those moments I would just revise. All right, next on the chopping block we have Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen, which is my favorite book of all time. Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco, which is a book I read over October. I thought it had such a good concept, but just it wasn't executed very well. And the Grisha Trilogy by Leigh Bardugo, which is another one that I love. Okay, so this is actually really easy. I am going to reread Pride and Prejudice and leave it exactly the way it is. Burn Stalking Jack the Ripper because we just didn't need this. It could have been really good and I did enjoy it. I'm not saying that I didn't like it. I just also wouldn't be like, it wouldn't be a big loss if it didn't exist, you know? And I would rewrite the Grisha Trilogy. Again, I'm not exactly sure what I would rewrite, but there are tons of reviews on Goodreads of people that didn't like it that much and they were saying like, it was okay, just like these things bugged me. And I would just go back and address those things because, you know, no book series is perfect. This could obviously be improved. There are plenty of ways it could. Alright, we've got a couple more sets in here. So the next one is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho, which is one of my new favorite books. I really love it and it means a lot to me. Six of Crows by Leigh Bardugo, which is amazing. The A Court of Thorns and Roses series by Sarah J Maas, which I just really love the second book in that series. I wasn't a huge fan of the first one or the third one, so I don't know how I'm gonna handle this. Oh no. What am I gonna burn? Resand. I can't burn Resand. I'm gonna do it, you guys. I'm gonna burn Resand. When you have a series with 3 books and only one of them is good. And then as for The Alchemist and Six of Crows, which one would I rewrite? Okay, I'm gonna leave The Alchemist the way it is, reread it and leave it alone. And Six of Crows, I'm going to rewrite it and not make that person die at the end. If you've read it, you know who I'm talking about. They don't need to die, they can stay alive and live happily ever after, please. Okay, and our last grouping is Twilight, the Game of Thrones books, and the Mortal Instruments series. Oh goodness. Oh, I feel bad for burning Twilight because it was like really influential and really important as far as like young adult literature, but also like Game of Thrones though. Alright, I'm gonna have to burn Twilight. There's just no other way. Bear with me here. I'm going to reread the Mortal Instruments and leave them the way they are, not change anything because I know they're not perfect. They got a lot of things that could be fixed, could be revised, but I'm not gonna do it because you know what? They are endearing and they are nostalgic, and their flaws I think are part of what make them so endearing to me. So we're gonna leave the Mortal Instruments in all of its flawed, corny, not the best writing glory, and we're gonna rewrite Game of Thrones. And I'm rewriting Game of Thrones because I know the last books haven't come out yet, but I'm 100% sure that they're not gonna end the way I want them to end, and that the characters I love are not going to get the lives that they deserve. And I just want to rewrite it so that I can have the ending and the conclusion and the wrap up to this story that I want. Alright, and that is it for the burn, rewrite, or reread tag. My cup is now empty. We burned a lot of books, we rewrote a lot of books, and I think this was really, really fun. So definitely if you guys want to do this tag, please let me know down below so I can watch yours, or if you've already done it, I would love to see it. And I hope that you guys liked this video, and I hope that I get to talk to you soon. Bye!